Yeah. Which one am I looking for? All right, let's go for this. Right. Hola, buenos dias, buenos noches, buenos tardes, GnGs. Yes, I am like damn near 30 minutes late. I had to listen. I'm Trekkw2ks. This is Weekend Crypto. If you don't know, the basic idea is I talk about crypto-related news stories that go from a Friday to a Sunday, pop it out 08 Monday morning. As I had said previously, I don't know how many episodes ago, I'm trying to do at least one live, let's say a month. And it just so happens that I was like dealing with drill and being under the weather. And so I was like, all right, well, you know what? It's a new month. Let me just hit the live at the beginning and call it a day. Granted, I had X amount of the technical difficulties in trying to set some things up as well as find some of these stories. So yeah, that's where we're at right now. I do got some things. Usual, I'm jumping around the globe with these stories because, as I say, there's generally always something happening in the space. It's just a matter of like, where are you getting your source from? What do you find relevant to what you're doing in the space or what you would like to know about the space, right? And leading into the segue of housekeeping, this story or this segment is brought to you by CJ the Smart guy, who is a CPA who focuses on crypto as far as individuals and as well as businesses. So link for his stuff will be in the description. As I say, I am not getting a kickback. This isn't a referral link. In full disclosure, he is my actual full CPA. And so, yeah, I'm not telling you got to use the guy. I'm just saying if you in this space and you in the American jurisdiction, you might want to cross your T's and dot your I's, because as we've noted over the last how many years, the U.S. is not playing, I don't want to say fairly. They being the gang that they being, right? From the IRS to the DOJ to the DOD to the DOE, like all of them, right? And then there's apartments you never heard of. But nonetheless, all right. So I got to figure out what to do with Restream, because using Restream itself, I can't share the articles the way that I want to share because it is heavy on my system. So link for these will be in the description, and y'all can definitely highly encourage you to do your due diligence, because just because I'm saying it, just because it sounds like it's all pro good, it doesn't mean it actually works for your individual situation, your setup. And so I'm highly encouraging you, do your due diligence for whatever it is I say on here. Because I don't know what your situation is. I'm not a CPA, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just some guy who has been in this space for a while and tend to notice the trends, patterns, and like behaviors of how this space has been repeating itself, as well as how it's been doing new developments. So let's jump into these stories, right? So this first story is on You Today, which talks about and I'm gonna start doing something because I'm curious to see if this plays out the way I think it does. But Bitcoin not banned in China, officially recognized as property. So the title is misleading. Here's why this title is misleading. Because what it gets into that article is there's these scholars that they don't name as scholars. Like, we don't know if it's Zhang Zhu. We don't know if it's like Li Yuan. We don't know who it is. All we know is they say that they're scholars, and they think that Bitcoin has properties, attributes to it that are like property. This doesn't mean the regulators are making any new changes that are like, all right, yeah, we're going to do, this to make it property. This article is misleading because again, they're not naming specific scholars. They're not giving you any indication about regulations that are changing in a way that look favorable to say China is recognizing Bitcoin as property. What the article does do in a sideways angle is make the reference into Hong Kong and how I've been saying this, Hong Kong is a sandbox. It is also the one exit and entry point for financial instruments to move in and out of China on a more, well, it's regulated, but it's a different way that it works compared to when you try to do stuff on the mainland of China versus Hong Kong. Point being is, be leery of articles like this that try to tell you something, and if it's not really clear, like if you're not naming people, then the other question is, are they actually giving the right quote to what they said? Again, this is why I'm gonna say, even for me, if I say something, question it as to what it is I'm saying and do your due diligence. Because at first, this sounds like, oh, there might be a change coming up. And I'm not saying there isn't a change coming up. What I'm making the point to is you really have to filter through these stories to understand, is this just fluff to push to the local market? In my mind, this you today story is more of a fluff to push towards the American consumption market related to crypto news. But link for that would be in the description. They do a kind of quote thing, but again, y'all could do y'all due diligence on that if you want to. I think more stories like this are going to be popping up, especially considering some of the other things going on in the bigger world right now. The financial world, the geopolitical world. Yeah, other things are going on. So next story, and again, link in the description. If somebody's over in the live, can y'all hit me with a 1? Because of how the delay is working out, like I could see through Restream that it's like 14 eyeballs, but then I can't see anything on the YouTube side. What is the other point that I wanted to say? Oh, I also actually turned on my actual channel, which is Trekkw2ks. And if I could get a sub, I would greatly appreciate that. Trying to get these numbers to work right. But I will be doing the weekend crypto stuff over here just because I've already built with y'all and we got the rapport going for those who be, messing with me on these 08 Monday mornings, 8-ish Monday morning. But I appreciate if y'all will go over and hit me with a sub on that side, which is the actual channel. I'm gonna start working on doing some other things over on that side. All right, so jumping into this next story. Binance ban in the Philippines spurs shift to local exchanges amidst higher fees and token limitations. So I brought this point up about what I thought was the trend that was going to be happening with Binance after C got booted by the DOJ, which is other jurisdictions are going to start getting uppity and going after Binance. Why? Because the US arguably effectively neutered Binance's market position, in that other jurisdictions are going, wait, so you was able to tell a non-US citizen that he has to get out of his company, and his company isn't even an American company, and then y'all gonna charge him how much money? Word? Let's see if we could do this too. So it's like there's blood in the water, and the other um regulatory financial agencies are like, gang, like, let's see what we could get. And arguably, in my mind, that's kind of what's playing out right here, where you had the South Africa situation with their compliance guy who's still arrested. The other one, I think, is still on the run. You have what's going on now with the Philippines, where they're like, hey, we just gonna tell Google to take you off the app, and we telling Apple the same thing too, which is like, okay, so I always thought that phrase of capital flight, right? the things that I'm saying are arguably conjecture. But when you look at how Binance has been getting kicked around in these other jurisdictions for the last couple of months since they put the new dude in, you got to scratch your head and be like, yo, what's going on? Like, what happened? Like, and don't get me wrong, Binance was definitely getting heat before, but these different countries were not being as bold as they're being now. They're arresting people and totally blocking them out of the market. Arguably, this is also what's the word? Protectionism, right? As far as they want to somehow boost their local exchanges, even though the local exchanges can't offer the same fees and rates as what Binance could do, fees, rates, and currency options as what Binance could do. I don't see this playing out well for Binance. Like, what I would actually find more, well, not actually find more interesting, but what I wonder is down the road, when will we hear of a European country that's like really kicking their back in? Because right now, if you think about it, the countries that we're hearing, it's like, y'all are like mid-tier. You know, we know about Philippines because of the connection to, you know, the US and stuff like that. But market-wise, y'all are mid-tier, if even. Africa, is you're looking at Nigeria or South Africa or Ghana or whatever, like y'all still mid-tier. When we hear about a European country or a jurisdiction going after them, that's when I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, it's done for. And I'm gonna still hold to, I think the US has done things to slowly choke Binance out of the market. That's just my thought process. All right. What's this next one? You know, I can go to that one. So a couple months ago, last year, I was covering and I was bringing up the point about how when we were going through the freeze, there were X number of companies. I hope my audio is still playing. There were X number of companies who were doing the hiring. They were picking up certain people. And if you looked at what was going on, they were hiring the people who were more on the biz development side, who were more on they were in either regulatory spaces or they were in business development spaces. Excuse me. So case in point, Antonio Villaraigosa, who was the former mayor of Los Angeles, he now just got hired by Coinbase. Hey, Grand Rising, Chloe Dior, how y'all doing? What's going on, crypto work? And thank you, Stream Elements. I appreciate. Oh, man, yeah, I gotta either grab a new laptop or figure out some next way to deal with this restream thing because I could delay on the YouTube side. But nonetheless, as I was saying, Coinbase just picked this dude up, which is funny. So they use a quote from him talking about like how many people are underbanked, right? He's like 18% of Americans are underbanked, including 25% Black and Hispanic households. It's like, bruh, you was in one of the largest states in the US with a sizable portion of that said demographic. What did you do to help back then? Because I don't remember hearing nothing about you being pro crypto. So I don't know. Like, I'm just throwing it out there that it goes to hold what I was saying back then about how the companies were going to start grabbing people that were related to certain segments of exactly Chloe. He's a lawyer, or well, he's a former mayor. I think his background is law. So he has X amount of connections. From line of it, he has X amount of connections. Granted, he is as a policy advisor. So yeah, I mean, as a mayor, you're doing nothing but reviewing policies and how you either change them, implement them, upgrade them, reverse them to where it works for you to keep, you know, running the quote city, the business of the city, right? So it makes sense. I guess we'll see how it plays out or for how long he stays. Two other companies got some people or like lost some people. So who was it? Paradigm, their special counsel person, Rodrigo Sierra, left. He went back to Cooley LLP. I guess I don't know what's going on in Paradigm. I don't even know what they do. If anybody got an idea, say something. But their law person left. Then also BitGo got a former Citibank executive, which I think that's going to be a big move for them because they've definitely been yo, you mad funny. You mad funny, Chloe. So yeah, like I said, the hiring thing, and now we're after the happening, right? So like everything is quote supposed to be on the up part here. So we really gonna see how this plays out when folks start going after these different talents in relation to, are they good in the business development sector? Are they knowledgeable about the policy side stuff? Do they have the connections to help the companies expand their reach into in becoming more stable and more foundational to the growing industry and the larger economy? That's the question. All right. What was it? Higher. And then there was this story. Oh, by the way, what was that last one? That last one was on Blockworks, by the way. You link for that would be in the description. So this next story is about wallets, right? So Cointelegraph writes an article talking about where to store your crypto. Wallets provide diverse options for holders. Here's why I brought this up, because I got a couple other stories that are talking about peer-to-peer activity and wallets and travel rules. And I'm gonna get into the travel rule thing in a minute. It's a relevant article if you're a more seasoned person in the space, because you would look at it and go, I don't know if I would really mess with that article. I mean, not an article, but that wallet. And would I tell someone, you know, use this over that? If you don't know, King and Zay, I don't know, what is that, like 2 years ago now, put out a whole breakdown in the not academy, but they did a whole virtual workshop thing that breaks down all of the wallet stuff. There's been a number of wallets that have come into the space since then. Some things have held on longer than others. Case in point, most folks would still tout Treasure and Ledger as like great wallets because they've been around for so long. I have my reasons why I'm not looking at them as great wallets anymore. Case in point, Ledger does the thing now where you have to have the live connection to it, which is a download on your laptop or desktop, that you can't use it without the live setup. And not to mention, Ledger is also a part of the OFAC. Um, they are part of the network that look block wallet addresses that are on the OFAC no-go list, which is the Office of the Office of Foreign, God, I forget what it stands for, but y'all can go back in the videos and, I'll talk about it somewhere. The point being is that there are things happening in how these wallets are changing, including the self-custody wallets, that they're changing things where, in my mind, I have a question of how we see a Treasure, a Ledger, a SafePal, a Trust wallet now. Are they going to look and operate how they operate in regards to self-custody in 2026, in 2020, in 29? Because there's another thing going on, and I don't remember where I heard this at, but somebody's wallet is coming out that allows geofencing. Okay. And the thing about this article that I thought was not fair, but not proper, was it tells you about these different wallets, and it's like, oh, this is cool because it's a hot wallet, it's online, you could do all these different things. But they're telling you about like pretty much all mainstream big business name wallets that definitely kowtow to the regulator side of the space. And they're not talking about how there's another conversation happening of where wallets are, the software side of wallets is being upgraded to have geofencing. That's the next thing to start worrying about with these wallets, aside from the whole thing going on with the privacy and self-custody stuff now, where the narrative is being shifted to make it sound like enforcing your own financial privacy or your economic sovereignty based on the ability to enforce privacy is bad, is wrong. The next thing to start worrying about is, do you actually have the ability to move where you want to move with your money? And I'm not saying this in regards to like, oh, you're doing nefarious things. I'm just saying on the general face of, if I want to walk across the street or across the country or across 3 different countries with whatever crypto I have or whatever fiat I have, that's a me thing. Just throwing that out there. You can read the article and you'll see what I'm talking about. It's very surface level, like fluffy stuff about these wallets, and I'm not even gonna go through naming them. Jumping off to this next story. Great segue into this next story. Vodafone. If you know about Vodafone because you've been over in Europe, you've been over in Africa, Vodafone is like damn near everywhere, right? So they're talking, or their CEO person. This is on Coin Edition, by the way. Vodafone plans to use SIM card tech for blockchain-based digital wallets. So here's my issue with that particular thing. It only increases the chances of, all right, how do I say this? In a security standpoint, yes, there's a part of like, all right, well, you would have to actually physically get to the phone in order. Hey, can somebody hit me with a 1 if they can still hear me? Because like I said, on my side, I'm seeing it lag. On the physical side of having a SIM, it means yes, you would have to actually start. You would have to, as a security thing, like get to the phone physically and be able to like get actual SIM card, right? Then on the other side of it, in my mind, I appreciate. Thank you. Thank you, Destiny. In my mind, there's the other part of what else can be added to a phone to make it where your SIM card won't be able to work in another phone. And most folks aren't going to do, the legwork to find out how do you jailbreak either the phone or the SIM card to be able to use it between different phones. So it's like, it's a double-edged sword. And that's just me thinking off head about it. In this regards, it does make me wonder, this is just going to be an indicator that other companies like Samsung, like Nokia, like Google will move in this direction in regards to how they're looking at smartphone wallets. Because part of this is the whole thing too of like personalizing it, making it modular to the individual, right? So this is an interesting conversation. I'm more leery in this regards, but time will tell us how this plays out. I'm going to be rushing through these next couple of stories, y'all, because I started late. And so, yeah, that's on me. Technical difficulties, but I appreciate y'all for being here, though. But no screen sharing. All right, thank you. So Nigeria mulls over banning P2P crypto transaction, labels crypto trading as national security concern. Where have y'all heard national security as being the, oh, we can't let blah, blah, blah happen because it's a national security thing? So US gang is the first one to call something national security. So this is a perfect example of what I was saying before about how the other jurisdictions are now going to start being like, well, you guys did it. Let's see what we could do. Nigeria is another example. And yes, I did do a clickbait as far as title, African countries hate P2P wallets. So it's more of African countries are trying to figure out how to control capital flight and also how to deal with being able to collect the data. It's like a twofold thing. But nonetheless, in regards to this, um, it basically there were like 3 startup companies that allowing people to do peer-to-peer. They were connected to the Nigerian bank. The regulators were like, "Hey, we need to stop that." So, hey, Nigerian banks, you can't connect with any of these companies that make the wallets that allow for peer-to-peer transactions. So that just basically kills the business, right? So arguably, you're kicking in the back of your startup development in relation to fintech technology, such as crypto wallets, in order to do what? Like figure out how to shake down the local folks. And then the other part of you're trying to get the foreign companies to come in, and then you're kicking in the back of your local people. How, like, I don't I don't understand the logic behind that, but it doesn't mean it's not happening. If anybody is out that way and you have a comment on this, I do review the comments later on, to later, and I will try to say something. But if anybody is there and they're seeing how this is playing out on ground, please do say something. As we say, like, we don't delete comments, but we do keep receipts. If something gets deleted, that's on the YouTube side. Like, they're the ones messing with stuff. So yeah, again, this is Nigeria trying to mull it over, and it still gets into the whole thing of, well, how do you actually stop it? Stop it, because you can always, well, not always, but if you do a little bit of legwork, and people being people, right? Someone will find where the PKA file, the APK file is, right? And it's like, all right, well, just download it directly to your phone. Into the whole thing. Okay, 10-second lag. Got you. So on the YouTube side, sorry, no. What was I saying? Oh man, I totally lost the thought on that one. The point being is, in my mind, Nigeria is setting itself up to have a bunch of problems. And it's gonna be like the dog chasing its tail of we want to collect the data, we want to get the foreign money in, but we're gonna do things that will mess up. And it looks like we're doing stuff, but we're doing something really like silly or stupid looking, chasing its tail. But folks are going to be folks. People are going to be people, and they're going to figure out how to get the crypto that they want. Hey, what's going on? Live 99, level 99. I'm about to be out in like 4 minutes. Sorry, bro. But people are going to be people. It's the same thing with the China situation. China was looking to ban all the foreign exchanges and only have organic stuff go on. People are still using crypto wallets, crypto trading platforms and stuff, but it's all the local stuff. They was kicking out all the foreign players. And I got another story. Let me rush through on this one. Nigeria about to shoot itself in the foot. South Africa about to do the same. So South Africa's Financial Action Task Force is like, hey, crypto wallets, you need to start implementing travel rule. And if you don't know what the travel rule is in regard to financial world, it's where you have to have information, certain amount of PII on the sender and the receiver of a financial transaction. And so with that, we're talking about, hey, if you are an official business here in our country, you need to start implementing this um, um, compliance in your terms of service and while it operates, right? Yo, what's going on, Jake Fever? So here you have that they're going to smother and again kick in the back of their local business people. Why? Because their compliance ain't cheap, y'all. Compliance ain't cheap. So when you telling me I got to implement a new rule or follow quote this rule and then push this on the people, the cost is going to then be pushed onto the users. The users are going to be like, nah, I don't want to pay that, or I don't want to deal with that part of the thing anymore. And again, this also goes into it's a hop, skip, and a jump, if not just a slippery slope away from geofencing. In my mind, if not by the end of this year, into next year, you're going to hear about wallets doing geofencing, but definitely before the end of this decade. Geofencing is going to be a thing. Where else? There was something else I wanted to say about this, and I forgot what it was. But nonetheless, in my mind, South Africa is also kicking in the back of its local business development people too, and we'll see how it's out. All right. So what was the other one? Oh, this one. Okay. So for all you Dogecoin folks, damn, Elon basically Tesla did an update, and apparently some people found some Dogecoin related details in it. And I'm gonna throw this out. Where was Elon last month? He was in China. Now, granted, he basically said the Dogecoin will only be able to work for certain products. You can't buy a Tesla with it. But do remember, I've been saying this forever. When people do press conferences, press releases, personal tweets, and then like certain, when they're in certain courts, it doesn't hold them to what they said. Gary Gensler is the perfect example of the SEC. My bad on assignment on the Stack Bros. I'm gonna get off in one quick minute. The point being is, I think this is a big play. Again, if you're paying attention to other things going on, Tesla just did a deal with DYN, which is the largest EV manufacturer in China, and it has to do a whole thing with the back end of their data. If you only paying attention to crypto as far as Dogecoin, and you don't know that he just did that deal, in my mind, you're just looking at one room when there's multiple rooms in the house of information. That's like there's a bigger thing happening for how they're about to move throughout the rest of the decade. That's just my thought process on it. I'm not saying this as financial advice. I'm not saying this as go get a Tesla. I'm just throwing out, hey, Elon is making some moves and China's still a part of it, for all of the rhetoric that we get here in the States about China bad. We need to stop, blah, blah, blah. Anywho, last joint is Jack Dorsey apparently put like 21 million. No, sorry, that wasn't the story, but that did happen though. Last one I'm gonna jump on is Bitfinex CTO Paulo Andrino dismisses hack claim. The bottom line is he goes, well, some of the information that this hacker says they had is like you could find that through other hacks that happen. It doesn't mean we had a hack. Again, press releases, conferences, certain other like social media posts, it doesn't mean the person is actually telling you the truth if they represent a company, an entity, or whatever. So you got to take those things with a grain of salt. And not to mention, there's a bunch, like literally there's a Gemini thing going around right now. I got the text for that one. There's another one that's going through email right now. And I couldn't even tell you where they got that number that I used from. I couldn't even tell you how they got the email that I used for that thing from. But that stuff is already going around. Point is, some of the hacks might not happen in the most direct way. And the companies, of course, are going to talk it down so they can still maintain market confidence in whatever their product or service is. You got to take these folks with a grain of salt. You got to take what I say with a grain of salt. You got to do your due diligence for whatever is going on in your situation. That's what I'm going to go out there on that one. And I'm going to leave it because now I'm 2 minutes over. So as I said, this segment is brought to you by CJ the Smart Guy. He's a CPA that focuses on regular everyday folks as well as businesses connected to cryptocurrencies. His link for the stuff is in the description. He is my actual CPA. This is not a referral link, so I don't get a kickback or anything like that. Just throwing that out there. Not saying you have to use him, but at least do your due diligence in researching who you have if you're in this American jurisdiction. I'm gonna leave that one there. Other than that, as I say, have a productive over busy day. If it cannot be a productive over busy day, at least be in a safe place, in a safe space, in a good company. And when from one human to the next, that is the best that I can wish you. All right, y'all. One. Whew.